What's good, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I hope y'all had a great summer. This is me, Josh, just helping you guys get ready for the fall and winter months. I've been noticing that the sneaker and footwear world right now is just so different than it was a year ago. So I'm gonna be going through the biggest trends we're seeing right now in footwear, and I want you guys to let me know in the comments which one of these trends are gonna stay for the long term and which are just gonna come and go. The first trend for me is by far the biggest trend we've been seeing in the sneaker world over the last year, and that is sneaker and dress shoe hybrids. Part of the reason for that is we have seen a lot of people who used to wear primarily sneakers before are now trying out different types of footwear, and the sneaker world did not want to get left behind. We should give credit to New Balance for popularizing this trend by releasing the 1906L. Of course, there were other brands that did similar types of hybrids before, but the 1906L really took the internet by storm. I've reviewed so many of them on the channel. You guys know what a big fan I am of that shoe. They've released in leather, in suede, and also mesh versions. And for me, it's one of my favorite sneakers, period, that have dropped in the last 2 years. And now we're even seeing the high fashion world take on this sneaker. We've seen some pictures of this model, and even though I'm personally not a huge fan of how this shoe looks, it's a bit too loud for me. This could be the start of other brands collabing on this shoe. New Balance might be coming out with even another hybrid sneaker potentially. This is the 1890, that seems to be what these are called. And they're basically a Clark's Wallaby type of shoe. It's got that U-shaped toe box, but it does maintain the base of the normal 1906R. This initial pair seems to feature that crocodile leather on it as well, but who knows, we might be getting, let's say, more wearable colorways in the future of this model, but no news yet on when these are going to release. And it seems like every brand is trying to get in on this trend. Even Crocs, they're going to be releasing their first sneaker hybrid model. These are called the Gallery Crocs, and as the name implies, you're supposed to be wearing these to go to an art gallery. The upper looks like a suede Clark Wallaby, and I have to admit, I think these look pretty fire. It might just be the colorways that are really clean on these, but I am interested to get these and try them out for myself. The retail price on these are pretty good as well, $118 it seems. Hoka has already released their own version, which is the Speed loafer, which I would say is a bit more dressier than the New Balance version, because instead of a penny loafer, they've gone for these tassel style loafers. But I've worn these shoes and I gotta say they are extremely comfortable. And no matter what colorway drops, they're always selling out, so these seem to be a hit. Even Nike, yes, Nike, the biggest brand in sneakers right now, is trying to get into this trend as well. They released earlier this year the Air Max Phenomena, I don't know how to say this word. The shoe was actually designed by Serena Williams's design team, but these didn't even release in Europe. They only released in the US. I think these are awesome as well because they're very subtle. They clearly look like a loafer. It's got that cool jewel swoosh on there, and the bottom seems to be taken from maybe an Air Max Thunder. I'm not entirely sure. You have those airbags there, multiple airbags on the midsole. I like these a lot. I hope they'll eventually release in Europe. And Nike's even coming out with another pair in a few weeks, which is a collab with Air Afrique. And what a pair this is. I mean, check this out. The upper seems to be taken from the Air Max Thunder. You got that zip style upper, and the bottom seems to be taken straight from a derby shoe, except on the heel you have an airbag as well. I think these are really cool. Like, you can definitely wear these with a very formal outfit. They're not particularly the type of dress shoe that I like to wear, so I'm probably not going to be getting a pair for myself, but I am interested to see these in hand and maybe review for you guys on the channel. Adidas also been trying to get into it. They're going for, I feel like, much more wearable dress shoe type of sneakers. This one with cloth on the Superstars I thought was really nice. You had those subtle 3 stripes on the heel. And also recently Kith and Ronnie Fieg dropped the Superstars, which were supposed to be a much more dressed up version of that shoe. I saw this one very interesting graph from Hypebeast actually, which I think summed up all these sneakers really well. It put the shoes into 4 quadrants based on how formal and how loud they are. I like the bottom left quadrant the most. That's where you see the 1906L. Speaking of loafers, and by the way, this isn't just a sneakers video, I'm talking about all kinds of footwear trends here. I've noticed these scrunchy style of loafers starting to become very popular, and I love this trend. Loafers really as a design haven't changed that much over the last 100 years, but now we've seen several brands make these subtle changes to the upper that make them really stand out, like the scrunched up style of leather. Probably the one from the Row is, in my opinion, the best of the bunch. Although the retail retail price is insanely high. These are actually made of eel skin leather. I didn't even know you could make leather out of a fish. The Yves Saint Laurent ones are super clean as well, but if you want something a bit more affordable, a lot of brands make cheaper versions like Marks and Spencer's even. These ones from Zalando too are pretty clean and under 100 euros. Maybe the best affordable ones I've seen are from this brand, which I believe is called Mista.
Should I call you Mister?
And you can group these first two trends together, the sneaker loafers and the scrunchy loafers. Both of them are alternative versions of classic shoes, but they're still very recognizable as a loafer. If this is your first time on the channel, by the way, make sure you're following me on Instagram. I'm dropping content on there daily and it's the best place to reach out to me. Another trend that is definitely on the rise right now is that sneakers seem to be getting slimmer and slimmer. Of course, the start of this trend, we can date it back almost 3 years ago when the Wales Bonner Sambas came out. And then you started to see Sambas in general and other more slimmer models become really popular again. Over the last year, it's been some of the Puma models. We then started to see some other Adidas silhouettes gain some traction like the SL72. But what we're seeing now is even slimmer and slimmer midsoles. Case in point, this upcoming collab between Jacquemus and Nike on the Moon shoe, which is actually the first ever sneaker that Nike launched. Just look at that midsole. Just looking at it makes my feet hurt. But I do think these pairs look great. It's one of Jacquemus's best collabs with Nike. Luxury sneakers, on the other hand, have been really pushing this trend now for quite a while. Like the Margiela Sprinters, for example, the Sprinters and the Gats now. Margiela seems to have two really popular sneakers. Prada with those collapse sneakers, which to me actually looks a lot like the Nike Moon shoes. And then you have this one from Dries Van Noten, which has been selling out consistently, and we've even seen Cause now make pretty much a carbon copy version of that shoe for a lot cheaper. In my opinion, however, I don't see this trend lasting for much longer because we are getting into the fall and winter months. I feel like people definitely want more robust, more comfortable sneakers this time of the year. So I think this trend is kind of on its last legs, but I might be completely wrong. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? I think one of the best versions of these slim down sneakers we've seen is actually the New Balance 204L. They're not too slim, the price point is really affordable, and best part is I think they look great. I've done full reviews of the shoe so far. They've released in suede versions as well as mesh, and it seems like there's going to be a lot of different collabs dropping on the sneaker. We've already seen Kith do one. There'll be one from Orale dropping at some point as well. It really feels like New Balance is pushing this model hard, and I can see this model becoming really one of the most popular sneakers for the brand over the next year. They might not be as comfy as some of the more expensive New Balance models, but I took this on a recent trip with me. I was walking like 20,000 steps a day in these, and honestly they held up really well. My feet were okay, they weren't hurting, so surprisingly decent comfort at this price range. I can honestly see this pair becoming the next New Balance 550. Are chunky sneakers back? Or are we in the super early stages of the comeback? I feel like this recent drop from Adidas and Pharrell on the Jellyfish might be the start of a bigger trend that we could see in 2026 of these more chunkier models making a comeback. Fashion does kind of move in cycles. I really like those Jellyfish sneakers, but I've not had a chance to get one in person and review yet. But for me, simply because of it being a conversation piece, it has to be in the discussion for sneaker of the year. But I also think Adidas dropped one of the most underrated releases period of the year this year. That is this shoe. This is the Adidas XLG Meta Wave. And just having this shoe in hand, like this actually looks like a straight up designer shoe. There's no way this looks anything like a standard pair of Adidas. And of course, it is the complete opposite of your Adidas Samba. This is a very, very nice shoe. And of course, look at how chunky it is. It is absolutely huge. Even the box that this came with is massive. Really comfy as well. It features Adidas's Light Strike technology, the same that you see on the Evo SL. I'll be dropping a review of this shortly, but what do you guys think? Are chunky sneakers actually making a comeback? At least Adidas is trying to push the conversation a little bit. They even had this other pair of XLGs that dropped earlier this year. I forget the name. I'm gonna make a prediction. You heard it here first. 2026 might be the year of the chunky sneaker comeback. And one more minor trend that I have noticed lately in the sneaker world is the use of tweed in a lot of shoes. Nike just dropped these dunk packs, the Harris Tweed dunk pack. One of the most elegant looking dunks I've seen in a while. I feel like if the cast from Peaky Blinders were into Nike dunks, they'd probably wear these. Even Vans dropped an entire tweed pack in some of their low profile models. I'm not gonna go ahead and say this is a trend and the start of something, just a little observation of some of the sneakers that's been releasing for the fall season. That's about all the trends I've been noticing, but of course I want to hear from you guys. Were there any trends that I missed? And like I said at the start of this video, which of these trends do you guys see sticking around, and what are some of your predictions for next year's trends? Don't forget to follow me on my other socials. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and supporting my content. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.